I was sexually abused as a child, and my abuser is still alive. My name is Xually, and this is my story of abuse. Before I start the story, I would just like to say that to those of you who defend abusers, for those of you who defend pedophiles and child groomers, you all have no idea what the victims actually go through. You all have no idea how long it takes for them to process what happens to them. You all have no idea the feelings that they repress so that they won't have to feel those things. And you all who defend abusers, you all are just as guilty as the abusers. So this is my story. This started happening, as I mentioned, when I was around 6 or 7 years old. Me and my cousins, we would all visit this home as normal children do during their childhood. We would spend holidays and that kind of thing. One night, I remember I was woken up by this person, and they called me outside. That was the first night, and they made me perform acts, starting with my hands first. I was unsure what to do. Like, I was a child, so I didn't know what to do, right? I was being obedient. And then after that, it started happening in the night, where this person would come and wake me up while my brothers and my cousins were on the bed next to me, but I was the eldest, so I used to sleep on the end, right? This person would come and wake me up, and they would put their private area inside of my mouth, and they would make me perform or relax on them until they relieve themselves in my mouth. As I got older, this person, keep in mind this person is a very religious person, a very prominent person in his faith. He would take me to a temple that is close by to the area where they lived, and he would perform acts on me there. So there was no physical sign of abuse, because there was no vaginal penetration. So he would do everything else to me, make me do everything else to him, and he would relieve himself in my mouth. And this is not something that I told my mom or anyone, because this person told me, don't tell anyone, because if you tell anyone, I will not like you. And I always thought that this person loved me as their whatever I was to them. So I didn't tell anyone. This happened until I wrote SEA. So it happened until like 12, when I started secondary school. I told my mom at 14 years old. I told her what happened. She confronted this person in the same temple that he abused me in with his wife. His wife wasn't aware of the abuse, I guess, but when she confronted him, his wife and him was in the temple. Of course, he said that I lied. He looked directly at their God and said that I was lying on him. Fast forward to me in my 20s, all the feelings that were repressed, it came back up after one of my cousins died, and I had to visit that same temple that I was abused in. I started tasting the way he tasted when he relieved himself in my mouth. I started getting back the smell. I started having nightmares. In the night, I would wake up suddenly thinking that he was right next to me, coming to do whatever he did to me when I was a child. This is a fake story of my abuse. The reason why I choose to share this story is because yesterday someone came and told us that he's sick, and years before I struggled with forgiving him. I did. I truly struggled, and I prayed and I asked God, please help me to forgive this person. And I would like to believe that I did forgive him. I truly wish that he would come to the knowledge of Jesus Christ, and he would accept him, and he would repent and be forgiven. But that doesn't mean that I forgot what he did to me. That doesn't mean that I forgot the feelings that I had. I don't forget how scared I felt, how scared I still feel. When I became an adult, I locked off this person completely. I really go to family gatherings. I really go by them. The next time after I actually had an interaction with this person was for my mother's funeral. And even that interaction was a very hard thing for me to go through, because this person came and hugged me and told me that's all they did, right? The reason why I did not speak out on this abuse while my mother was alive is because I know how they would have treated her. I know how everyone would have treated her, because most people already treated her really bad. And if I spoke out on this, they would say, your daughter is making things up about that particular person. It's so sad how abusers disguise themselves behind this mask of being good, behind this mask of being a person that other people could trust. Now I think about, because this person is such a prominent religious person, what if he did this to other young girls who their parents trusted them with, meaning that there are certain duties and rituals that people would perform, and you would need certain people, and he is one of those prominent persons. So what if? But anyways, that is not part of my story. And now I would like to talk to the people who actually know about abuse and they turn a blind eye to it. Yesterday someone told me that this person is sick. When I heard that he's sick, the first thing that I thought was, the day he died, it would have one less child groomer and one less pedophile to walk the face of Trinidad and Tobago. And I would always say that because that is what he is. He's a pedophile because he preyed on me while I was still a child. I was only 6 or 7 years old, I believe. I don't even remember half of it because my feelings have been repressed for so long. This person, when I told this person that, they said, I wasn't there, so I can't say whether you're telling the truth or not. I can't say whether he did what you were saying or not. How can a child make that up? And how can I make it up in such details? This person defended the person that abused me. And I understand that you all, are in denial. I understand that when is it you will hear that someone you trust or someone so prominent does something so unhumane to someone, it is very hard to believe. But you all would never believe it, and you all would never feel what the victim felt until you are the victim, or until it happens to someone in your household. God forbid, I do not wish that on anyone. When this person said that to me, my heart instantly broke. And they even brought up religion. They said, when you are praying and when you have faith, you must learn to forgive. So what about this person that was praying? And what about this person that had faith, but they abused me in their place of worship? What about that? You all who defend abusers are the reason why victims stay quiet and don't speak out. Because why would I speak out when no one would believe me? Why would I speak out when you all think that I am lying? Why would I speak out? But I am no longer gonna protect this person's reputation. I'm not gonna wait until this person died, probably in the near or distant future, then to speak out, and then everyone would say, he is no longer alive to defend himself. So I would speak out while he's alive. And there are people who would look at this video and they would know exactly who I am speaking about. And there are some of them would even defend him still and say, she is lying, she's just looking for attention. And you know what? That's all well and fine, because I do not seek validation from you all. I don't ask you all for anything, so I don't need you all to believe me or not. The purpose of this video is to give victims the strength to speak out. Speak out on your abuse. Speak out on those that rape you and those that sexually abuse you. Because when we keep quiet, we silence everyone else, because no one else gets the strength to actually speak out on the abuse. And to those of you who defend abusers, and to those of you who say maybe this person is lying, or it didn't happen that way, or maybe they're just looking for attention, you all are just as bad and just as guilty as the person that actually committed the act on the victim. Because you all know and you keep quiet. That is what you all do. You silence victims. And as victims, you know, we shouldn't be the one feeling guilty. We shouldn't be the one having to go through all of this, right? But the person that abused us, they don't know what we go through. They don't know what we feel. They do not know what we struggle with. You as well, who defend them, you all don't know what we feel. You all don't even know what we struggle with. I am open to talking about this to any victim out there who wants to know more about my story. Feel free to reach out and I would share everything with you all. Because I am no longer protecting this person, protecting their reputation. My mother is dead. And trust me, that's the only person that I wanted to protect from all of this. That's the only person I wanted to protect. Because I know how people would have treated her if I said all this while she was alive. I hope that the victims who do come across my video, that you will find strength to also speak out on your abuse. And as I said, if you want to know anything about my story, feel free to reach out and I will share everything in explicit details because I have nothing to hide. And to those of you who defend abusers, I hope that this video helps you realize how damaging that can be to the victim. And I hope that you find a way to reevaluate your life and reevaluate the way that you think towards sexual abuse. And to the abusers out there, I hope that you all are dealt with swiftly by the law.